Are you in a relationship?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Yep.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I am not in a relationship.
Have you been in relationships before?
Yes.
I have not been in relationships before. I've been close once or twice, but that's as far as it's gone, really.
Yes, I have. Yeah, I was in a relationship for a year and a half.
I don't know. I haven't invested that time into my I haven't invested time into that part of my life really, because I just focus on college, focus on work, and I don't know. It's never been like an interest of mine.
Yeah, I didn't really. I didn't like date anyone. I was always a little bit just odd. I never really was interested in doing it. I never really liked anyone else to be like, I'm gonna go out with you.
I think I arrived late to the party, and everybody had already been in a relationship and been brokenhearted and been out of it and don't want to be brokenhearted again, so they wouldn't want to take a risk on something else, and so there was always a condition to that.
I feel like I have really specific taste, so like I'm really picky on these apps. But like every time I go on a date, sometimes it's okay, but most of the time I just kind of like we get along really well and we're just friends. I don't think I've ever gone on a date where you leave and you're like, oh, I think that was like, oh my god, that was so nice and I loved it and like I feel a bit fluttery. Like it's happened once or twice, but then after that it kind of just doesn't stay. So yeah.
I wasn't really into dating until I met my girlfriend. I was more into going down to the bar and just talking to people that way. So
I've never actually dated under the kind of like thought that like this is for the purpose of like finding someone to be in a relationship with. It's always been dating just to like date, which doesn't really make any sense because it's kind of like I would be like casually seeing someone and then it would when it did turn into a relationship, I'd be like, oh, I don't know what happened. It just kind of turned into a relationship. But it was like, well, duh, you like spent intimate time with someone you're mentally, physically attracted to.
I think like the main thing from my history of dating is that I'm just like in awe of people that are in relationships or that like have managed to be in a relationship and stay happy for a long period of time. Because like I can't even date someone for more than a month before it going tragically wrong or just like being horrendously bored or just like not just realizing, you know, when you're just like you're dating someone and then you sit down and you're like, oh god, we have nothing in common.
Yeah, as I said before, everybody that I was kind of meeting had already been in their first love kind of thing and their accidental first love, or you know how it all happens. And I think I was coming into it naive, hoping that would happen, and then there was always a condition where it was all this magic until that.
There's like definitely a couple of things I can trace back that either I value in a relationship or wouldn't put up with now, that I can trace back to like, oh, that's when such and such acted like that or whatever. And recently I found some screenshots on my phone of me having a fight with this boy. It's like 4 years ago at this point, but I sent them to one of my friends being like, look at this dickhead. But even how I was acting in those, I wouldn't do it now. I wouldn't be as polite. I'd just be like, you're acting an absolute fool. Here's how we're going to fix it and move on.
I think it was more my previous relationships would affect my dating. So every time I'd come out of a relationship, I would date differently. So like after my first relationship, because that was bad, I kind of was frightened of dating. And I wouldn't like put myself out there so much. I was more wary. It made me wary. And then it wasn't until I got into another relationship, it kind of like reset me a little bit. And then when I came out of that relationship, I was able to be like not as scared and wary. And this time I was actually more assertive because I kind of thought like in that relationship, I didn't assert myself, my needs and my emotions. So when I came out of it, which isn't fair on either people in the relationship at all, when I came out of it, I thought, okay, this is what I need to do. And then I feel like the relationship I'm in now, it's just like constantly progressing and getting better. Like each time I learn and each time I date, then I put into practice what I learned from the last relationship. And then in the next relationship, I I got it.
I think I'm like deep down I'm quite romantic. So I think being dating and while it hasn't really gone well for me, and I've never had the relationship in this and the other, I think it makes me hopeful that like when I go on that date and I meet that person, that makes me go, "Ooh, that I don't know how special it is." So I think that's my view of relationships. I think they're very special, and everyone has their own definition of what a relationship is. So if someone finds one that they're very happy in, I'm always just amazed and fully in support of that. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'd be really excited to go and get into another relationship because I really enjoyed being in my past relationship and it was something that I really liked. So I'm excited to have that again. I have had bad experiences, but like trying to focus on the positives and being excited about dating is what I'm trying to do. But I would have insecurities as well, because nobody's perfect.
So I grew up in a very Christian background. I went to youth club till I was maybe must have been 16, maybe 18, and I had a really close community of Christian friends. So I grew up in a very different, like the way people in all my friends and everything in the Christian community viewed relationships was completely different to like most people. They would be very kind of about like you should really only date someone who's also a Christian. And the whole sex before marriage thing is this huge thing. You can't have sex before marriage, or it's just not a good thing to do. There's this whole thing about do not awaken love until the time is right. That's another big phrase that they would say. And I know loads of people who are Christians who are already married and engaged, and they're my age. They could be like 20. It's really common to get married young because I think a lot of it is believing that if you find the one, they are perfect, they are Christian, and they are amazing. So why not just marry them if you know you really like want to be with them? So they just get engaged so quickly and married so quickly. And I know a few of them who already have kids. And for me, I'm like, whoa, here's me, and I'm like so not there. So it's a completely different world in itself, and they're all dropping off like flies, my friends.
When people were starting to online date, I was like, that is horrible. It's so judgmental. Why would you ever want to do that? Shallow. And I was like, nobody I would ever want to meet would be online. And then I slowly realized that everyone was online dating and that maybe the people that I did want to be would be online too. So I kind of took a chance on it, and I'd say for the majority of the experiences it was quite good. Like, you realize a bit more about what you want in a person, and you don't have to fall into the situation of being a shallow person. You can go for the person with the nice smile that doesn't have the best profile pictures, but it's up to you whether you want to be shallow or not.
Because although the kind of idea I feel like with people with dating now is like, oh, it's like, non-exclusive until stated otherwise. But it gets to a point where people are like seeing each other and it seems like so intimate and committed, and then they're turning around and they're like, no, actually, what are you talking about? I'm seeing like so many people, blah blah blah. So I always tried to be really open about it, and I felt like when I did, people were like, oh, this is a very weird conversation, why are we talking about this? But I think it's just fair because I've seen so many people getting hurt from that.
I think modern dating is really disgusting and gross. I think it's really difficult, especially like because like we're also busy like in our own lives. I think it's really difficult, and we resort to things like Tinder and dating sites, or like hooking up with somebody that you meet in a bar, and obviously like I'm not interested in that, and I think that like dating apps and stuff like that is just really empty.
People kind of treat other people as like commodities now, that they can just go and date, and like if it doesn't go well it's fine because it doesn't really mean anything. I think people just need to remember that while it is just pictures on the screen, they're still people, so you need to like treat them like that. And if you're going on a date with someone, to like put that side of it away. Obviously you're attracted to this person, but you want to get to know what's underneath that. Unless you don't, you're just gonna have a bit of fun. That's all well and good. But yeah, I think dating, it's got a bit less serious.
Tinder's quite fun. Like, it is fun to use, but I never took it seriously, and it also doesn't work for me because like I'm not good at texting. I don't like it. I'm way too impatient for it. I'd much rather like meet someone in person than do in 10 minutes what you would in like 3 weeks on Tinder.
I think the most interesting aspect about dating now is we're the first generation to really be like the trial run of like dating via technology, dating in this technology era where we're so like focused on texting and stuff. And like one really big pet peeve that's reported now that people say is like a huge pet peeve in dating is if someone's a bad speller or they have bad grammar. And it's like, what? You like if you could meet the love of your life or like the best hookup of your life at a bar, on a night out, like out in the street, and if you'd met them online, you would have never pursued it because you're like, oh my god, he used "you're" wrong. Like we're being so selective based on this, and then we're like being really, it's like, oh, he's not witty enough, and it's like, I'm not witty on via text to a person I don't know. It's really hard.
With like, I don't know, like lads and stuff, and like kind of lad culture, like with Tinder in particular, like people just like I've seen it happen, like guys like looking at a girl on their phone, or all of them kind of sitting around and just judging this girl or whatever, and all being like, oh, like whatever she looks like, and it's kind of just like a bit horrible, but it definitely happens because like it doesn't seem like they're real when it's just a picture of somebody like that. It's not, it's not like you're face to face and they're going to hear what you're saying or anything, obviously. So like there's definitely that part, and like ghosting then kind of comes from that as well, because like if you're just messaging somebody, and even if you're messaging them for ages, like it's not going to be or feel like that big a deal if you don't have that much of an emotional connection to them, that if you just walk away, like, to you it'll be fine because I don't know, they're just on your phone or whatever, you can just cut it off.
I think people are a little bit spoiled for choice. They kind of try and push it out for as long as they can without being committed to someone. So they basically want like all of a relationship, but not like we're exclusive, blah blah blah. Just to kind of, they're scared of, rather than working on a relationship to make it really nice, they'll just keep kind of looking over the next hill and being like, but maybe the next woman will be perfect or whatever, which is like, just make what you have nice.
I think, and this is only like my version of events, but I think people are expecting something big or something different to happen, or some kind of fairy tale romance, and if they don't have that with one person, I think they get itchy feet and want to move on to the next big thing.
I feel like I came from a kind of background where like more of the people that I would have been out with would have been lads, and most of my friends wouldn't have got into the clubs the same time as I would. I would have had I would have been able to sneak in easier. So I would have been hanging out with a lot older lads, and that kind of rubbed off on me a little. So I thought that the whole thing of like racking up numbers was what you had to do and stuff like that. So obviously my views have changed on that over the past few years. And
I think that's one thing that's gotten kind of out of hand now, is that people definitely should have the self-esteem and the self-confidence and the self-assuredness to like look after yourself and have fun and go enjoy the world and see what's out there and experiment and everything else, but make sure that whoever you're doing that with knows that that's all it is. And I feel like that's one thing that people don't do. People kind of go out and have fun and then they don't really care about the consequences afterwards. Yeah, so I think that's one thing. I think people are kind of, as I said before, it's kind of treated as a commodity rather than like actual people that you are these complex creatures you can discover and have these beautiful connections with. It's more just like, what can I get out of this? I think that's one thing that people need to stop thinking. Don't think, what can I get out of this, but think, what can I learn about this person that I'm with now? I think that's a better way to look at it.
Are you afraid of breakups?
Isn't everyone?
I am afraid of breakups and stuff like that, but it wouldn't stop me from getting into a relationship, because if you're going to experience heartbreak, there's going to be the really good stuff too. And I really like the good stuff. I like relationships. I think they're nice, and I think it would be worth it to feel that way. And maybe it won't end, and that will be fun.
It's more afraid of like wasting time with somebody. Like if you were together with somebody years and then you just break up, and it's like, you're my best friend and like I have all these memories with you and now it's just all gone. That kind of thing. I think that's the only thing that I'd be afraid of. But I don't think the actual breakup I would be afraid of.
I think like I'd be afraid of, like, it's happened to me before where like I've gone through a breakup, and then afterwards realised that we hadn't necessarily tried everything that we could have to make things work, and like that was like it took me a while to kind of get through that and to kind of like, you know, to just kind of rationalize that was kind of okay, you know, or like you know, it's not something that you want to happen, like, but I think at the same time, like, you know, I've had a breakup where it was just, we both knew that it was exactly what needed to happen and it was fine, you know.
If you break up, you break up. Like, if there's a reason to break up with someone, or you don't work, like, it's stupid to stay together. But then if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, if I thought you were being an arse, I wouldn't go with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Like, and sometimes it's great for a while, like, but it only works for like whatever stretch of time, and you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be someone's fault, but don't let that stop you starting.
Yeah, sometimes people can love each other, but be the worst match.
Yeah.
Together, really, can't they?
In some ways, you're lucky if it does happen to you, because at least you've experienced something really, really good, and that's the only way heartbreak can really happen.
You kind of just get used to someone being in your life, don't you? Like whenever you like date. So for that to change is just kind of jarring, and then the heartbreak kind of comes after. So the little tiny little bits of like heartache of experience have been pretty crappy. So genuine, actual like traumatic heartbreak, I'm okay for now. I would not like that. Thank you.
Like, I remember like how upset I was after my first boyfriend. I was like so devastated. I thought I'd never go out with anyone ever again. I really was like that. And then it's just like when you meet somebody else, it just kind of comes naturally. So it's just like you're not expecting it. You know, you might think in your head, oh, there's no way this is gonna happen for me again or something. Especially when I was like really young and like teenager, like thinking my life was over kind of thing. So I think it just kind of surprises you then, like, you know. Well, that's what it's been like for me.
When I first got in a relationship, I was told I was crazy. I was told I need to live out my young years as single, do what I want, go traveling, do whatever. But like, I like to kind of think as myself as a little bit old fashioned, because I like the idea of finding someone and living together for ages. I'd like to live a longer life with someone. I have more memories. So when you're old and grey, you'll be sitting there talking shy to each other about what you used to do when you were younger. So
I don't know, if you're single, people assume that you're just, you know, casually having sex with people. But if you're in a relationship, I think people respect you more as well. So I think that everybody eventually wants to be in a relationship. I think I know it doesn't work for some people, but like everybody eventually wants to have like somebody special in their life that they can just, you know, hang out with and stuff like that. But you know, I think for me it's definitely like a pressure to hook up, not to be in a relationship with other people. Yeah.
I think it's still 100% respectable for someone's like life ambition or life goal or just something they really want to just meet someone and be happy. Because like realistically, everyone in this world like needs companionship. There's no one that does well independently. Like every single, like humans are social creatures and we want to know each other and we want to feel cherished and we want to feel loved. So I'd never ever put someone down for like just being happy in a relationship, because as I said before, I think if you've managed to find a relationship and be happy in it, that's so rare and it's phenomenal, so keep it. But yeah, people I know personally don't really put pressure on either way, but I think there probably is a little bit more support in staying single.
There's huge value in being in like on your own, but there's a huge value in partnership too. But I think there is quite a pressure for people to stay single. But then on the other side, there's a huge thing around people being like, oh, I'm single and I want to date and stuff, and like people do get lonely, and then I think they feel shamed to talk about that. People are ashamed to say, I want a boyfriend or I want a girlfriend. It's really rare to hear someone say it. It feels like they get embarrassed, and it's like you'd never say it. They'll just be like, I just want to date, but they'd never say they want a boyfriend or girlfriend, which is sad, because you should be able to want to have that and get that if you feel like that's what you want to go for.
I think in the country there's pressure to couple up. Everyone my age is in couples, serious things, road frontage, the lot.
And then some people like would take it as being single as like kind of an act of empowerment or something, you know. It's like self-care, like to be on your own and show how independent you are, and that's fine. Like you know, that's completely up to yourself and all, but I just don't think you should project how you are feeling and like your kind of defiance against it onto other people.
Yeah, when it comes to the city or more people at our age, there's more pressure not to couple up. I think especially our age, I think it's, if you couple up, you're giving away a part of yourself, and this is the most crucial time in your life that you shouldn't give a part of yourself. And that you should be completely focused on what you want from life and what you're doing right now. But I don't think I've ever seen it like that. And I think I maybe for a while I thought, I was like, oh, this am I distracting myself from something? But I think just in the same way that you have best friends that come in and out of your life, I think relationships should be the same. And that fact that you learn something new from each person you meet.
I definitely think that our generation sees getting into relationships as a weakness. It's very domestic. And I think as well there's this pressure to be like, I'm strong and independent on my own. And I'm like, that doesn't mean I don't also want to be dating someone I really like. Like, this is a bonus.
I think people think relationships, not everybody, but I definitely think a lot of people think relationships weaken you, especially at our age, because this is an important part in our life where we're either in college or just finishing college and making moves like moving country, moving to a different place and all that. People don't want to be tied down, when I think with our generation it's not so much tying down. It's not the same as it was before. It's more I don't know, allowing somebody to come into your life and an addition rather than a subtraction, I think.
I think it depends on the person. Do you know what I mean? If you are the sort of person who's like really dependent on other people, I think obviously that's a weakness. Or if, like, I know a lot of girls who like feel the need to constantly have a boyfriend all the time, and I think that's a weakness in a way, because you don't need it, you don't need them for anything. But yeah, no, I view it as a strength, because it's hard work. Do you know what I mean, to be with somebody, I think.
I've like when you actually like take a step back and you look at your kind of life and then thinking where you've been in a bad place and where you've been in a good place. Most of the time you've been in a bad place when you're alone, but when you're with someone, you have someone to fall back on. Now it's not like a bed of roses all the time. Obviously you have your shit moments and stuff, and you want to wring their neck, but the good ways out the bad, kind of.
There's a lot around identity and individuality now, such a focus that partnership is just becoming like, it's as if it's hindering that aspect of yourself. People just don't see partnership as value anymore, whereas it can actually lift people up. I think if you're in the right relationship, it can really lift you up and help you progress as the individual you are.
Yes, I do think people view relationships as a weakness, but I'm talking more about like guys, because I feel like it's like with lads, I don't really know this, but I feel like if a guy is, say like they're just having sex with the girl, the lads are like, oh yeah, that's so cool, yeah, go you. And then if it leads to a relationship and they start kind of maybe hanging out with her a little bit more than they would hang out with their friends, they're like, oh, you're so weak, like, oh, like you're so whipped. Like that's such a thing, isn't it? Yeah. Being whipped. I don't think for girls like it's viewed as a weakness, but for guys it's like, oh, you're not, like, I don't know, you're kind of just being a sap or something if you're in a relationship, which is really sad. And then like that's not good as well, because what if the girl really wants a relationship but all the guy's friends don't like that because they just don't want to lose their friend? Yeah.
Like, I'd say a lot of those guys would want to be in a relationship, but there's definitely pressure for them because their friends are like, oh, going out every night, getting with girls or whatever. So
and I think it goes the other way as well, in that, like, there's like this cliche of the strong independent woman who like don't need no man or whatever, and like, that's, I'm sure that's true for a lot of people, but like I've heard that sentiment being like pushed on people, and that that it's like almost shameful that you like need someone to be happy, like, but that's not really the case, like, and it's not, I don't know, yeah, like I can see the kind of twisted logic that would go behind it, but obviously I don't agree with it.
I think with today's culture, there's like not respect. There's like there's dating and be like, oh well, I like you, but there's this. It's always there's always a condition. There's always something that doesn't add to your life when something yeah, I don't know. I feel like people think relationships take away when they actually add in the right way. Because it's not the same way it was with our parents or what it is where you like move in together and get a mortgage. It's like way more loosey goosey, I think.
I think a relationship means that I don't know really. It's kind of all the stuff that you want. Like you want trust, you want love, you want someone to fall back on, you want stability, you want all that kind of stuff. You want a friend. That's what love kind of means to me. I think I view love in different kind of ways and shapes and forms. Like I'll have different love for different people. Like I won't love my man like I love my girlfriend.
Yeah, I think it's being able to share like a more truer version of yourself with someone, and share like emotions and thoughts and stuff with someone on a level that you can't really otherwise.
I think being in a relationship helps me to be brave. And I think it helps us both to be brave in a way that's not codependent or scared or you're giving up half of yourself. I think we both are encouraging to each other to do what we want. If there's that unconditional love between you, doesn't matter if you're not together then or together now. I think that's all that I'd be happy with.
I just think a romantic relationship is just that one person that after like a really shitty day, you just come home and they're there and they just make you feel better. Like they might not say anything or they might not like, I don't know, they might have just like cooked you dinner and you're just like, it's just such a gesture of love and you know that that's what it means and you're just like comforted by that. I think that's what a relationship is. I think it's just having a person that you want to go and do really boring things with, but like being with them just makes it everything you wanted. I just think, I don't know, you could just go for like a walk on the canal or like go for a coffee somewhere you've been 1,000 times before, but you go with your favorite person and you're just so much happier to be there because they're there. So I think if you have that, I think that's the most important part of a relationship. I think that's what a relationship is to me, is that one person you feel so comfortable being yourself with that you don't even notice the rest of the world's there.
I suppose relationships are like you always have someone to do something with, or you always have that one person that you know is gonna be like. It's like a duvet. I don't know. It's always something you can like rely on or can trust, or someone that'll like sit and listen and like also like you just like being around. You can sit and not do anything. That's it.
Yeah.
It's as good as going out for an entire week and doing 101 things. It's just as good as sitting down and just being like.
Yeah.
So my parents would have like grown up on the same road and everything, and they like started going out when they were in their teenage years and stuff, and they just like gave me this kind of idea of like what it's like to be in a relationship and to like grow up with a sweetheart and stuff. So I think like that affected me in the way that I got into relationships, because it just, like to get into a relationship with your friend that you've known for so long and then to kind of stay with them for a while, that's like something that I would like have in my mind as being really good because of what my parents had. So I don't know, childhood sweethearts.
What do I expect from love?
I don't know, someone who's on your side and has like your best interests at heart. Not necessarily someone who's going to big you up and say your class all the time. Like I want to be called out and being an idiot. But yeah, definitely feeling like you're not alone in it.
What do I expect from love? I don't know. I would expect a lot of laughter and fun. Again, somebody to rely on. Something that's unconditional. Something that you feel like you go out and you can be yourself because you know that somebody at home loves you for who you are and thinks that you're great, and you can just be yourself. I suppose it's just feeling like you can be yourself with somebody and knowing that they won't judge you at all and will enjoy your company and you'll enjoy their company.
Yeah, I suppose it's not like it's not really the big razzmatazz of fireworks you expect. It's kind of more so the sit down and have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's
You know
good.
what I mean?
You don't need to be doing something mental.
Yeah. And that's like you're happy enough doing that.
Oh my god. I think being in love is just accepting people for who they are. Do you know what I mean? Without trying to change them or alter them in any way. And like it's like, oh yeah, okay, you like them things and I like these things and that's your lifestyle, this is my lifestyle. But you can meet in the middle. Do you know that way? Without trying to change the other person. So yeah.
See, love now is the tricky part. That's the tricky thing because everyone tells you that's when you're in love, you're like ride or die to the end kind of thing. When love for me is that it's unconditional and I don't know, allowing each other to be brave and adding to each other and not taking away. So I don't know.
I think it's like love is when you like look at someone and you're completely 100% aware of like all their flaws and every way they've ever fucked up in their life and all the wrongdoings they've done and the ways they've hurt you, and you're like, it's fine because I love them. Like it's there's I can forgive anything that they would do because I just love them, and I know that deep down they're like just this precious being, and I think we're all essentially just kind of like children at heart, and like I think love is seeing that child in someone and being like, you're precious and I adore you and I want you to bloom and blossom and be the best version of yourself. And I think that love is just genuinely having that investment in someone else's happiness. I think that's what love is really. I think that if you love someone, you kind of want everything in your heart for everything just to work out for them and for them to have a great life and to be content.
What do you expect from love?
Oh, what do I expect from love? I don't expect anything. I don't expect to have love. And if it comes around, so be it. But I don't expect it.